Hi, welcome back. It's story time, and today's Christmas story is How the Grinch Stole Christmas by Dr. Seuss. For some of those little kids, they didn't even know it was a book before it was a cartoon or a movie, but it was. Every Who down in Whoville liked Christmas a lot. But the Grinch who lived north of Whoville did not. The Grinch hated Christmas, the whole Christmas season. Now please don't ask why. No one quite knows the reason. It could be his head wasn't screwed on just right. Could be perhaps his shoes were a bit tight. But I think that most likely reason of all may have been that his heart was 2 sizes too small. Not happy, is he? But whatever the reason, his heart or his shoes, he stood there on Christmas Eve hating the Whos, staring down from his cave with a sour, grinchy frown at the warm lighted windows down in their below in their town, for he knew every Who down in Whoville beneath was busy now hanging a mistletoe wreath. They're hanging their stockings, he snarled with a sneer. Tomorrow is Christmas, it's practically here. Then he growled with his grinchy fingers nervously drumming, I must find some way to stop Christmas from coming. For tomorrow he knew. All the Who girls and boys would wake bright and early. They'd rush to their toys. And then, oh, the noise. Oh, the noise, 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 noise. And that's one thing he hated. The noise, 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 noise. Then the Whos, young and old, would sit down to a feast, and they'd feast, and they'd feast, and they'd feast, 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 feast. And they would feast on Who pudding and rare Who roast beast, which was something the Grinch couldn't stand in the least. And then they would do something he liked least of all. Every Who down in Whoville, the tall and the small, would stand close together with Christmas bells ringing, and they would stand hand in hand, and the Whos would start singing. And they'd sing, and they'd sing, and they'd sing, 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 sing. And the more the Grinch thought of this Who Christmas sing, the more the Grinch thought, I must stop this whole thing. Why, for 53 years I've put up with it now. I must stop Christmas from coming. But how? Then he got an idea, an awful idea. The Grinch got a wonderful, awful idea. I know just what to do, the Grinch laughed in his throat, and he made a quick Santa Claus hat and a coat, and he chuckled and clucked, what a great Grinchy trick! With this coat and this hat, I'll look just like St. Nick. All I need is a reindeer. And the Grinch looked around, but since reindeer were scarce, there was none to be found. Did that stop the Grinch? No! The Grinch simply said, if I can't find a reindeer, I'll make one instead. So he called to his dog Max. Then he took some red thread, and he tied a big horn on the top of his head. Then he loaded some bags and some old empty sacks on a ramshackle sleigh, and he hitched up old Max. Then the Grinch said, giddy up! And the sleigh started down toward the homes where the Whos lay a snooze in their town. I don't think Max looks too sure about this. Although windows were dark, quiet snow filled the air. All the Whos were dreaming sweet dreams without a care. Then he came to the first little house on the square. This is stop number 1, old Grinchy Claus hissed. And he climbed up to the roof, empty bags in his fist. There we go, there's Max. He was on the crease. Then he slid down the chimney, a rather quite pinch, but if Santa could do it, then so could the Grinch. He got stuck only once, for a moment or two, and then he stuck his head out of the fireplace flue, where all the little Who stockings were hung in a row. These stockings, he grinned, are the first thing to go. Then he slithered and he slunk with a quiet smile most unpleasant. Around the whole room he took every present, pop guns and bicycles, roller skates and drums, checkerboards, tricycles, popcorns and plums. And they stuffed them in bags, and the Grinch very nimbly stuffed all the bags one by one up the chimney. Then he slunk to the icebox, and he took the Who's feast. He took the Who pudding. He took the roast beast. He cleaned out the icebox quick as a flash, while that Grinch even took the last can of Who hash. And then he stuffed all the food up the chimney with glee, and now, grinned the Grinch, I will stuff up the tree. And the Grinch grabbed the tree and he started to shove, when he heard a small voice like the coo of a dove. He turned around fast and he saw a small Who, Cindy Lou Who was no more than 2. And the Grinch had been caught by this tiny Who daughter, who'd got out of bed for a cup of cold water. And she stared at the Grinch and she said, Santa Claus, why? Why are you taking our Christmas tree? Why? She is tiny. But you know, that old Grinch was so smart and so slick, he thought up a lie and he thought it up quick. Oh, well, my sweet little fake Santa Claus light, there's a light on the tree that won't light on one side. So I'm taking it home to my workshop, my dear. I'll fix it up there and I'll bring it back here. And his fib fooled the child, and he patted her head, and he got her drink and sent her to bed. And when Cindy Lou Who went to bed with her cup, he went to the chimney and stuffed the tree up. Then the last thing he took was the log for the fire, and he went up the chimney himself, that old liar. On the walls he left nothing but hooks and some wire, and he took a speck of food that he left in the house that was a crumb too small, even for a mouse. Down here's the little mouse. He just took everything. Shame on him. Then he did the same thing in the other Who houses, leaving crumbs much too small for the other Who's mouses. Hard to turn the pages. It was 1/4 dawn while all the Who's still in bed, all the Who's still a snooze, when he packed up his sled. Packed it up with their presents and ribbons and wrappings, the tags and the tinsels, the trimmings and trappings. Look at his whole sled is super full now, and poor little Max up there. Quite the haul. 3,000 feet up on the side of Mount Crumpet, he rode with his load to the tip-top to dump it. Pooh-pooh to the Who's, the Grinchiously coming. They're finding out now, no Christmas is coming. They're just waking up and I know what they'll do. Their mouths will hang open for a moment or two. Then the Who's down in Whoville will all cry, boo-hoo! That is a noise, grinned the Grinch, I simply must hear. So he paused and the Grinch put a hand to his ear. And he did hear a sound rising over the snow. It started out low, and it started to grow. The sound wasn't sad. Why, the sound sounded merry. It couldn't be so, but it was merry, very. He stared down at Whoville. His Grinch popped his eyes. Then he shook what could be such a shocking surprise. Why, every Who down in Whoville, the tall and the small, was singing without any presents at all. He hadn't stopped Christmas from coming. It came. Somehow or other, it came just the same. The Grinch, with his Grinchy feet ice cold in the snow, stood puzzling and puzzling. How could it be so? It came without ribbons. It came without tags. It came without packages, boxes, or bags. And he puzzled 3 hours till his puzzler was sore. Then the Grinch thought of something he hadn't before. Maybe Christmas, he thought, doesn't come from a store. Maybe Christmas, perhaps, means a little bit more. And what happened then? Well, in Whoville, they say, the Grinch's small heart grew 3 sizes that day. And the minute his heart didn't feel quite so tight, he whizzed with his load through the bright morning light. And he brought back the toys and the food for the feast. And he, himself, the Grinch, carved the roast beast. So there you go. How the Grinch stole Christmas and learned what it was actually all about. I thank you for joining me, and I hope you come back and hear more stories. There will be 2 more this week, and then a whole another week of Christmas stories before Christmas. So I hope you come back and join me. And I thank you for being with me today, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Not a Grinch day.